you're obsessed with the Connie Pheiff Show. It's about a lifestyle shift to move up or out.
Hey, what's your jam? What's the one thing that really drives you? What makes you unstoppable?
It's about opening a new door to live your dream.
People give up way too early on their dreams.
It's about enjoying the journey. It's about keeping it real.
Damn, now the interviewee is interviewing the interviewer. I like this.
It's all about you.
I knew there was something else I wanted to do. Stop taking shit so seriously. Y'all can do this. Take an outrageous look at life and laugh.
This is the Connie Pheiff Show.
We love your voice. We love your jam. You need to be on radio.
And now your host, Connie Pheiff.
Hey there, it's Connie Pheiff, and you're listening to the Connie Pheiff Show. So, I need you to go out and share this video. And the more you share, the more giveaways that we have. Our guests are always giving things away. We have things that we want to be giving away. We always have something here to give away, whether it's T-shirts, autographed books. Over the weekend, I got probably about a dozen different coffee mugs from folks saying, here, give these away. So we have coffee mugs that we can be giving away as well. And our guests today, they're also giving away an autographed copy of their upcoming book, which is Rooting Up, which you're going to be learning more about in today's show. So make sure that you're sharing, keep commenting. So share, and tag me, tag the Connie Pheiff Show, and I want you to also tag our guests. We'll let you know who they are in a minute, but tag them as well. Let them know that you're listening. Let them know that you're here. So why the heck are you listening to the Connie Pheiff Show? And I get that question. I get emails, people sending in. They want to know more about business. They want to know more about how they can move up in the C-suite, but they want to know a lot and mostly about marketing and branding. How are they marketing? How are they branding their business? How are they getting out there? How are they standing out amongst that huge crowd out there, all that noise that's going on out there? Well, that's what we hear about, and that's what we're going to be sharing with you, especially today with our guests. But make sure that you continue to share, because we are keeping the passion of life activated for the world's most daring minds. So today we're going to be talking about the birds and the bees. Really. The birds and the bees, and how to understand where your brand comes from, and how to talk about your brand in any conversation. Recently, I spent several days on the pre-Oscar shows, the pre-Oscar parties. I was at a lot of them, and I listen. I tend to listen to other people talking, and I could hear people. They're coming up, they're meeting each other. Hi, how are you? Doing that. That awkward networking moment, and when somebody says to you, "So, what do you do?" And so many people, now we're talking about Oscar folks, we're talking about folks in Hollywood, we're talking about actors, actresses who really stumbled over what they do. So you want to be really clear on that message, very clear on that message. So our guests today are going to be talking about that. So we want to welcome to the Connie Pheiff Show, brand strategist and coach, the dynamic duo, Emily and Justin from Root and River. And I love your name, guys, because it just takes me back to my Southern roots.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, Connie.
To the show.
Thank you.
So, Justin, you're in Austin. And now when I was
Correct,
writing, I'm going, Justin is in Austin. Justin is in Austin. It's kind of like, all right, that. And Emily, you're in Phoenix, where all the sweetest got hit by like bunches of snow recently.
Yes, it's true. It's such a trip for everybody. We're all freaking out, but it's so much fun.
Oh, good. Yeah, when you don't have it, and I'm from the Northeast, and now living in Southern California, my son's still back there, and he'll be like, "Oh, I'm sick of this snow," and I'll look at the pictures, and I'm like, "Oh, but it looks so pretty." And then my husband reminds me, "Really?"
Yeah, I grew up around snow. I grew up in Oregon and Idaho.
Okay.
42 years between those two places, and I now like snow where it belongs, which is on the TV.
Not in Austin, Texas.
Not in Austin. And we visited it. I did have the biggest temperature swing. Emily and I were doing a rebranding of a city in in Minnesota, which was next door. It's called Moorhead. It's next door to Fargo.
It gets cold.
And the day that we left, I had to stay an extra day, but it was 21 below. And then by next Friday in Austin, it was 87. And I think I'm certain in my 48 years, that's the largest temperature swing in the shortest amount of time.
Wow. Well, it's been pretty cold here in LA. There was even some snowflakes on Hollywood Boulevard, too, when all the snow was happening. But I mean, where I'm at, I can look up to the mountains and see the snow. So I'm good.
Yes, that's pretty much how it is here in Phoenix, too. Yeah. Right, yeah. It was fun to see the snow on the Saguaros. And I mean, it's it's an otherworldly experience to see snow on a desert, saguaros and cholla and in the arroyos and everything. So it was really kind of cool. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah. Well, today we want to talk about the birds and the bees, about branding, the branding birds and the bees. And you guys like you coined this phrase on branding the birds and the bees and where the brand comes from. So help the listeners. Like I was sharing, people really are stumbling over like, oh, this is what I do, or this is how I can help you. But it really comes down to your branding. And so again, where does that come from?
Well, yes, we with our analogy of the birds and the bees, it is an organic place that brands come from. And we've sort of been taught in the 20th century that brands are sort of this manufactured reality, that it is a manufactured something. But we know that it comes from the soil, the earth. Mm-hmm. So really a brand comes from three places. It comes from your set of beliefs. So if you can imagine a piece of grass, underneath that grass, there's a seed. And in the seed doesn't start growing until it breaks open. Mm-hmm. And then the seed grows down because it needs roots. And it also grows up because hope and in the darkness. And so the seed is rooting in, and this is what we would call the beliefs level. This is where you have all of what you intrinsically came into earth with. So the beliefs that no one had to teach you, your early experiences, your foundation, what you are passionate about, what you want to pursue, the things that really make you you. And as that little seed grows, it does eventually sprout above the ground. And now everyone around you can see that little sprout. It is visible. You can see the behaviors of the sprout, whether it starts growing leaves or it just shoots straight up. And so this is the second B. And these are the behaviors of a brand. They're rooted in the beliefs. They're a direct extension of that belief set and that root system. But other people begin to observe that. And then finally, eventually, a little bud blooms at the top of this plant. And that is what we call the third B, the brand experience. So as that flower unfurls, it also releases a beautiful scent. And that's why people are drawn to your brand. And they see the beautiful color. And again, there's this law of attraction that is triggered. Nice. And it is in line with those behaviors, and it comes from those beliefs. So what we do is we encourage people to understand and articulate that root system, because it is underneath the ground, and we don't always go dig in there ourselves. But once you articulate it, you know how it manifests in your behaviors, and you're aware of the brand experience that you're giving. Mm-hmm. Now we can begin the work of articulating our brand and using those words of our mouth, like you said, in those conversations, to really clearly and organically express who we are as a brand.
I'm going to ask you if you would to really elaborate on that, because some of the conversations that I'll have with people as well is, well, I don't know what my brand is, or if I pick this brand, using an analogy that you're using. So if I pick this branch, does it mean that I can't change to this branch and I'm stuck with this like for the rest of eternity? If you can elaborate on that so people understand that change will happen.
Yeah. So there is, the metaphor of nature breaks down a little bit because we're talking about humans and the power of choice. But I would say that the first thing is to understand that your brand has a root and it's in your soul, or you can call it your heart, you can say your psyche, whatever, but it's inside. It's not outside. And so branding is first an introspective effort. You have to go inward to find out who you truly are and what you believe, especially if you feel called to be an entrepreneur. Like if it feels like a calling, if you're not doing it just because you stumbled across a great business model and you're getting rich, you're doing it because it's an extension of your mission on earth.
Right.
So the root system stays stable, but it's a bit of a magical plant when you start with the root of your inside of you. And the magic starts to happen with the way that it branches out and the fruit that it produces. And what happens if you root your brand in what you believe and what your mission is, what your standards are, how you want to show up in the world, then you have tremendous flexibility about how you offer that to the world, the fruit, if you will. And so if we put it into real practical terms now, or more contemporary terms, you look at brands like Apple, Starbucks, Disney. They do not organize their brand around their business model or their business processes. They organize their brand around their brand. The brand is the juicy middle, and that gives them tremendous flexibility to be in a bunch of different business models and offer a very broad product mix to the marketplace. And we would say that a business owner has been programmed to look outward. My customers are out there. My inventory is out there in the warehouse. Everything's external. And we would say, just pause for a moment and go inward, just for a moment.
And actually, when you do that, when you go inward and you are rooted, what happens when that flower blooms is that the bees and the birds come to the flower. They're attracted to it. The plant doesn't pull up its root system and then run after the bees. It simply knows who and what it is, blooms, and then people are drawn to that. And this is something we teach our clients, and we teach everyone, is that branding is much more about repelling than it is about attracting. We often think...
And that's what I wanted to talk to you, because you're talking about the attraction and how you could attract people. And we talk about that all the time. I mean, marketing and branding, I mean, you're talking my language. And, you want to attract people to come. You're like, that's, be that honey, be that sweetness, but repelling the people that you don't want to work with. And it took me a while to get to that point. I mean, I was focusing on the attraction, but there's definitely the opposite, which is, again, the people that you don't want to be doing business with. And it's really, and I don't even know if it's an opposite, but it's the message that you are portraying, the message that you are putting out there to them. And this is part of your triad, so to speak, and how you do that. So what is your analogy then, again, the way that your philosophy and how you look at that are repelling the people that you don't want to be working with?
Well, I think you have to be okay with the repellent factor. It's part of an ecosystem. So I think a lot of people, they're very hesitant, like, no, I don't want to turn people away. I want to attract people.
Right.
And you've got to, first of all, say, I am not for everyone. And that is fine. That is great. Because the people who are repelled, if you're speaking from a place of truth, you're clear about your brand, and you repel someone, that's wonderful. It's a huge savings of time and energy on your part, on their part. Because if you are not a match at that level and you're trying to work around that, it will drain your battery. It will drain your bank account. You'll be over delivering, and it's just a nightmare. So we have to run our businesses incredibly efficiently. And if you are repelling and attracting and okay with that at the outset, you're going to be able to do that much better and scale that much quicker.
Well, you can use me as a test case right now. It took me a while, because I mean, I've been doing this for 12 years, but several years ago, it was like, okay, I need to stop. I need to stop focusing on the attraction and really and focus on who I don't want to be doing business with. And just recently, so I have my standards, I have my criteria specifically for our talent concierge. And so we're not working with the startup where, we're not working with those that have been in business for umpteen years and don't need help with what they're doing. Our sweet spot is really those that want to transition or grow their business personal and, set them up coach them, brand them, market them, because I've taken over my publicist company and I'm doing a lot more in that space now. But it was just, I guess, funny the last couple of weeks, turning people away. I've actually been turning people away, and I had one guy, he was so mad at me because I turned him away. I was like, I'm sorry, you just don't fit.
Yeah.
So, so it's also, what you're saying, attract the ones that you want to be working with, and those that you don't want to be working with, really be strict to letting them go, even when they get upset. But and I've learned myself from experience that, like you said, it drains your bank account. It just drains you dealing with someone that is just like they just suck the energy. I don't know how else to put it. And so when I see that, it's like, the red flags are all over the place. And I'm just like, no, not doing it, not doing it.
Yeah, we try to have compassion, I guess is the right word, for business owners, especially that are Gen Xers and Boomers.
Yes.
Because our programming was this idea of mass appeal. All of the marketing curriculum for that period of time from the late 60s about scale and mass appeal. And you got to, it breaks one of the natural or universal rules of branding, which is in order to grow your brand, you have to narrow your focus. And if you narrow your focus, you broaden your appeal. So it's paradoxical to that way many business owners are trained, or how from their kind of their knowledge set, as it were.
Right, exactly what you're saying.
It is, and I think because hopefully we repel those people before we're even in conversation with them. So to your point, Connie, you don't have to have that uncomfortable moment, but you can repel them. Maybe like on our website, if you go to rootandriver.com, you'll see a warning label. And so we say on that page who we don't work with. And that helps to repel. And over the last, we always eat our own dog food, as we say at Root and River. So we practice the strategies that we teach our clients. And so over the years, we really don't get into conversations with people who are not a match, because they've read our blog posts, they've gone through the warning label page, they've attended one of our workshops, and so they've already opted out. Or if they're not ready yet, they've stepped aside.
Yeah, and we're doing more of that. And the individual that I'm talking about was a referral from another client. And that's, he just thought, well, they'll take me no matter what. And I was like, no, but like you said, maybe I should put it on there as a warning label. But we do say, this is who we don't work with, and this is a criteria that we're looking for. So we do avoid that. But it just blew me away that he got angry.
Right.
And of course, I didn't want the client who referred him to be upset that we didn't take him. But, I had to have that conversation that this is the criteria. This is, the people that we work with. And it's a very tight niche. So we're not broad. It's a very small, it's a very tight niche. So we do need to take a really quick commercial break, and we'll be right back. And we're going to be asking you some of our hot seat questions. The Connie Pheiff Show is heard everywhere. You can find The Connie Pheiff Show on most of your favorite networks. It's time to now recognize and thank our major networks for all of their support. In the house, we have Conscious Business Radio, C-Suite Radio, Transformation Radio, iHeartRadio. We are also heard on Google Play, Apple, Radio, Stitcher, and so many more that I just can't keep up with them all. I'm Connie Pheiff, your unstoppable diva. Learn more about our gym and how we can work together at my fancy schwanky website, ConniePheiffShow.com. I'll see you over there. Until then, like, share. Now back to the show. And we're back. And you're listening to The Connie Pheiff Show. And our unstoppable guests today are talking about the branding of the birds and the bees, a dynamic duo, Emily and Justin from Root and River. So, guys, you both can answer. Why are you unstoppable?
Well, I'll go with that. I've been self-employed since 2003.
Okay.
I've intended to be self-employed since I was age 0. So this has been a lifelong pursuit of freedom. And I didn't feel unstoppable until I met Emily. And so we are an accidental company. Didn't plan on starting another branding firm. I was going to go do something else. It's a long story for the book. And it was when we combined forces that an alchemy was created where I suddenly felt like my mission and my talents were finally aligned. And it took 44 years to get to that place of alignment. And what I have found, again, this is just for me,
right,
that it's alignment between your inner and outer world, or your alignment between your beliefs and your actions. You can look at alignment a lot of different ways. That alignment is what makes you unstoppable. Because when you have the true north, or the why, or meaning, as Viktor Frankl referred to it as, no one can stop you. Nothing can stop you. Certain things can reshape you and adapt. And the business that we have today, that 4.5 years in, is it looks a little different than we thought it would. But the core mission that I have as a brand strategist, author, speaker, and all that other stuff, of how I want to go and live my life and how I want to be known, that makes me unstoppable.
Nice. Emily?
I think I was going to say something very similar. I'm aligned. I love what I do every day, but I'll add this. I'm here today because I was loved, and that people believed in me, and that becomes an unstoppable force when you can take it in and use that to see the world without the usual limiters. And so I stand on the shoulders of my parents and my grandparents, and I draw from that daily. And I also see my place in it, that I'm creating something for my daughters to carry on. So I think tapping into our ancestors in that way, and the love that they gave in one way or another. Maybe it wasn't always, lovey-dovey, warm, fuzzy love, but it was through dedication to their work. I think that's really what helps make me unstoppable.
So for you personally, will you ever be satisfied with the work that you're doing?
I think that's a great question.
Yeah, I just finished David Goggins' book, Can't Hurt Me. David Goggins is a former Navy SEAL. He's the current world record holder for most pull-ups in 24 hours, which is 4,030.
Wow.
So his whole thing is to be the uncommon amongst the uncommon. And he inspired in me like this feeling, like he was able to put voice to this feeling that I have, which is I'm grateful, but I'm hungry. And I'm very grateful for the work, but I'm hungry. I'm hungry. Like I can have the flattest day and maybe have a migraine or whatever, but if I get to give a speech, do a podcast, work on something with Emily, I come alive. And it's because a hunger is being fed. And I don't want that hunger to ever fully be satiated, because that's what drives me. So I can build up the gratitude bucket, and I feel deeply grateful for my life and the design of it and everything else. But I do have that hunger, that sort of primal need for more, that keeps me going in times when I don't really feel like going.
Got it.
For me, I think the work satisfies me daily. I like the process of the work and the sharing, the collaboration, the people. But I'll never be satisfied in a bigger sense because there's always more to learn. I'm a voracious reader and just curious about everything. As long as there's something to learn, I don't think I'll ever be satisfied that I know it all or anything like that. So plenty of knowledge in the world, and I'm going to be after it, hopefully, all my days.
That too.
That too. Well, it sounds like you guys have a really good relationship, business relationships in terms of how your business is growing. So it sounds like you have a lot of very open and clear communication and directive on what you're doing with your business. So there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there that can't work with partners. I happen to be one of them. I tried it. It could have just been a bad match for us. But I still I need my team. I need to be talking to them daily. Not for micromanaging at all. I need them to be holding me accountable. Because again, it's easy to sit in an office by yourself, and unless the production team is talking to me about something, or my scheduler or whoever, they're talking to me about something, and that motivates me. So do you guys find that you're motivating each other by working together as a team?
Yeah, there's a verse in the book of Proverbs that says, basically, talks about relationships as iron on iron.
Yeah.
And that's what, in my view, Emily and I have, this iron on iron relationship that is rooted deeply in mutual respect, love, trust. We have each other's backs. And, we have a number of interesting dynamics. We're married, but not to each other. So we're a male-female business duo combo that isn't in a romantic relationship, which is quite rare.
Right.
We live in two different cities. So we don't get to see each other. We don't get a daily immersion of, how was traffic this morning?
Right.
And all of that, though, has just emphasized the level of trust that is there related to both our intuition and our intellect. I sometimes say that we're interchangeable, and we're really not, because we both bring our different perspectives and what to the world, but we're interchangeable in the sense that if Emily is going to do something that I'm not going to be involved in, I 100% trust her, and I think she feels the same about me. And I think that's the magic or the alchemy of it. There's also a creative component. We sometimes jokingly refer to ourselves as Kenny and Dolly. Now, for millennials and Gen Zers, that's Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton. Right. But they were not romantic partners, but they were creative partners, and they made beautiful music together. And a similar feeling that we have here is that we're making art every day. Every time we do something, we're making art together. And it's why we refer to ourselves primarily not as business partners, but as creative partners. We're creative partners that are in business together.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we definitely complement each other. I'm just the kind of person that doesn't want to do anything alone. I didn't want to own my own business because that's too insular. Like you're saying, Connie, I want to be grounded by the team. I want to be humbled. I want to be checked. I want to be held accountable. I want my ideas pushed further. And I'm a competitive person within myself. And there's times when I find myself getting into a competitive mindset with Justin. And I think that's the other side of the iron, sharpening iron, just to be honest with you. And I have to be really aware of that. I'm like, oh no, we're on the same team.
Right.
But we do kind of force each other to go further and run a little bit harder on things.
Okay.
And then, but we've also set things up to where we can check each other and say, you know what, you've been going really hard. You need to step back and let me take this call. So it's been it's the most important thing in our business, obviously our relationship.
Right.
And we work on it as such.
Right. Good.
But we're not afraid, Connie. We're not afraid of conflict. I mean, we would have made a hell of a reality show, especially the first 3 years, because we were at each other. And partially it's because we trusted each other, like that the other person could handle the full weight of who we are. And that's ultimately it's trust.
Right.
And so we're not afraid to have that tough conversation. We're not afraid to express a fear. And we are always also working on ourselves individually because we know that contributes to the partnership.
Right.
And so those are some other factors as well. It's probably why we do especially well with partnership owners. So we have clients that, it's a partnership type approach, and we get that dynamic and how it affects the brand because we live it every single day.
Right. You live that for sure. And you said something like, I'll do with my team. And I have 9 head account because we just added some more people to the team. But that's one conversation that we have during our team meetings. And I put it right out there, giving everyone permission to call me on something as well as calling each other. And like you said, you can have conflict. You can agree to disagree, have that conflict if it's better for the client and what we're doing. And if you are able to do that, then you're growing.
Yes.
You're You're growing together. You're growing as individuals. You're growing as an organization. But I also wanted to, you talked about Dolly Parton. For those that don't know, we can also, I wrote down Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, let's do that analogy.
Yeah, that's another analogy. Yeah, you'll have to go with that one. People singing to each other. So we're about ready to end here. So why don't you just give us some parting words, some things that you want our listeners to know, and also let them know where to find you.
Great. Yeah. One thing we'd love people to know and understand about branding is that it is not fixed. It's not something you design a logo, you're done. You figure out a tagline, you're finished. Mm-hmm. Branding is a practice, and you are the brand. And so you need to practice branding every day. So think about the way that you are coming across with your beliefs, your behaviors, and that experience that you give to others based on what makes you truly different. And then see if you can come up with 2 to 3 ways that you can practice that every day. Whether that is, calling up a friend, taking time to have a deeper conversation, or maybe put on your website who we don't work with. But that's what I would encourage people to do, and not think of it as something you do once and forget about.
Right. Great advice.
In my counsel or thoughts on this, Connie, just kind of as a parting idea for people to ponder, is there is no formula. Well, there is a formula. There's a formula for selling formulas. That's it. That's the only formula. And so you got to go your own way, and don't be a karaoke singer. Be original. Go make real music. Don't be a cover band. You can make a nice living as a cover band, and you can starve as an original artist for a while, but you keep your soul. And one of the ways to make your own music, because people will often ask, well, how do I find that? Because it's kind of a foreign concept, is find an orthodoxy and challenge it. Look at your industry. Look at your community. Look at your generation, whatever. Pick an orthodoxy and become a heretic. Because if you look at all the great brands throughout time, they're all heretics. They've all looked at the way things were done and went, I'm going to do this different. Mm-hmm. And so that's why we say that to be a contemporary business owner, a contemporary leader, you need grace, courage, and wisdom. Because you are pushing back against conventional thinking.
Right. And
when you do that, it's amazing for your brand. Or the mantra we use is it's always good for your brand to take a stand. So take a stand against the orthodoxy that you want to push back against.
Right.
And then, as Em said, do it every day. Organize your life around it.
Wow. That's really great advice. It just reminds me of, about a year ago, about this time, prior to that, in the fall of 2017, I started a group for women, and people kept saying, you got to start because of my background when I was CEO of Girl Scouts back in Pennsylvania. And they're like, but this is your background. But what they were pushing for is that, and I know I'll get nasty email about this, I pushed against the Women's March. And my comments were, as women, you're giving your power away by wearing a vagina on your head, by walking around topless. And so I wrote about that because I was called and interviewed because of where I came from. And it just took my website over the top and it crashed. And it literally, so, we've spent some time rebranding, and not really rebranding, but refocusing it. We have a new website, trademarked the name. We just got the trademark finalized a few weeks ago, but I wasn't prepared for that. Mm-hmm. It was, again, good and bad, but there were more people supporting because I stood against what was going on. That's right. And I said, it's just crazy. I said, that's not what you do. So I'm an advocate for Beyond Me Too. Mm-hmm. And like I said, it has really lifted some eyebrows among some people, that I still stand firm on that conviction, that we have to, stand or move beyond that. Yeah. But people call us crazy. They definitely call us crazy. And the new Nike commercial is Celebrate Your Crazy. And I celebrate that every day.
Right.
Celebrate it every day.
Yeah, and we are, making nice is how we got here over in sort of Western civilization. It created order and structure.
Right.
But we're done with that. What we need to do now is make meaning, and you can't make meaning if you don't know what you believe in.
Right.
And that's why we talk about courage so much. Is it takes great courage to do what you did as an example. It's a perfect example, Connie. I would like to use that with your permission when we give this example to others.
Sure, absolutely.
The female thought leader that said, "Wait a minute,
you're an original thinker," and I think our society is just starved for that, and sick of the same old, the same old stuff. And for someone who has thought out a position and shared that, people respond.
It blew me away the number of, again, professional, high level women that, came to me and said, Jess, you need to push that more. And I know there's Beyond Me Too out there and different things. So, I support it. And even with my show, and we did some new intros and different things that are coming out. And I put right out there that I'm an advocate of the Beyond Me Too movement, that I don't support it. So there's a lot of people out there, they're just not speaking up.
That's right.
But they're following because they're seeing, what is happening, and that I am standing, up for that. Mm-hmm. So, so thanks guys for being here. And I know your website is rootandriver.com.
Yeah.
And so, and again, for our folks here, you want to learn more about this dynamic duo, they're fabulous. You need to check them out. So go to rootandriver.com. And Emily and Justin, thank you for being here today. You're doing some awesome, awesome work.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Connie. We appreciate the conversation.
Well, folks, that's all we have for today. I'm Connie Pheiff, recovering C-suite executive. We're moving ideas forward, and we are keeping the passion of life activated. So check out our feature advertising for The Connie Pheiff Show. And for ad details, just head on over to theconniepfeifshow.com. And we have the best publicist team around. So if you're at a crossroads in your career, you're looking to scale your lifestyle business or step into a lifestyle business, give us a call. You can call me directly. It's 570-906-4395 for your free consultation and learn if you qualify. And check our website for the ones that we don't want to be represented by our talent agency. You can also visit talentconcierge.co for details. We are working with our clients who model our vision, which is to be unstoppable together. And our mission, and we live it every day, is representing the world's most daring minds who keep the passion of life activated. And I'm going to leave you with this crazy thought. Celebrate your crazy. And that comes from Nike in the new commercial. I just love it. Celebrate your crazy. There's people out there that are calling you crazy every day. Well, show them what your crazy is all about and keep going. Keep doing it. You're listening to The Connie Pheiff Show. If you like what you're hearing, make sure that you like and share us with your friends, your family, your colleagues, and subscribe with us on iTunes and also on the C-Suite Radio. Until next time, activate your power and keep the passion of life activated. Hey y'all, it's Connie Pheiff. Thank you for listening to The Connie Pheiff Show. Check back often. You don't want to miss any of the good stuff. If you like what you hear and would like to be a guest on the show, head over to theconniepfeifshow.com to apply. While you're there, check out our amazing advertising opportunities that will put you right in front of your perfect client. I will see you over there. Do yourself a favor this week. Activate your power and be unstoppable together.